everyone, my name is Heather and I'm so happy that you're here. Today I'm going to share a little tutorial on how to create an open spine journal. I've been making these journals recently and they are a lot of fun. I think they're kind of like a more casual type journal, and I thought I would walk you through my process, and if you guys would like to create one for yourself, then I think you will enjoy it. It's really kind of a fun little journal. So I went ahead and did most of the steps ahead of time, so that way I can just show you how I'm going to assemble it. But I will just say as a side note, like if you're a beginner and you want to know how to make a journal like from start to finish, I also have another video that shares how to create a junk journal from a composition notebook, and I will link that below just in case you need some help with, choosing your papers and all that sort of thing. But this particular tutorial is just going to be how I put it all together. So I've created two covers, a cover and a back cover. So this is going to be the front and this is going to be the inside, and then this is going to be the back inside, and then this is going to be the back. So that's how we're going to do it. And what I used to make the covers was, it's like a vintage file divider type thing. And so I found these somewhere, like at a thrift store or something, and they're really nice, kind of heavyweight, almost like cardboard feeling. But you could use anything. You could use a cereal box. I think a composition notebook would be a really good choice if you need something and you don't have anything. You could pick one of these up for $1 and just use cutout of the cover, because it's basically about the same sort of weight as the cover that I used. So I went ahead and just covered both sides with papers. So that's all you have to do. Cut it to width. And then I'll go ahead and measure this to tell you so how I came up with this size was I took, let me just grab this real quick, show you. I just took a regular sheet of paper and I folded it in half, and that is pretty much how I came up with the size of the journal. I find that to be such a nice size to work with, and I really, enjoy working with that size whenever I'm journaling as well. So, but you could certainly make it any size you like. But this is about, 5.5 inches by 8.5, well, maybe 8 3/4. That's how big this the cover is. So what you're going to need is your covers. You're going to want to have your pages ready to go. So I chose 15 sheets of paper for this journal, and let's see, where's the middle? Here's the middle, and I chose 15 sheets of paper to put inside the journal. Have those all ready to go. So basically we're just gonna be attaching it like that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to be putting these little pieces of lace along here like this, and then wrapping them around the back, and then we are going to bind the journal with some ribbon instead of thread. So I just want to tell you really quick what I did with the lace. So this is just layered. You could use anything you want. You could use just fabric like this, if you wanted to use just pieces of fabric. Or what I did was I layered. So I took a piece of fabric and a piece of lace and I layered them together. So I just have them glued together right now. So that's what I did. So you can certainly use anything you want. You could use lace, you could use fabric, whatever. And then the width of this is about 2.5 inches. So you're going to want to make each one. I made this one a little bit bigger, but it really doesn't matter. So the next step, so we have our lace ready to go. And this is going to be my ribbon, so that's ready to go. We have our covers. The next step we're going to do is actually put the ribbon through the pages to start the binding. So we won't need the covers right just yet. So get your pages ready. And what you will need is an owl tool or an awl. I always say owl. I don't know. My husband corrects me every time. But anyways, when you go through, we're going to put 2 holes through these pages. So if you need some help with doing this process, you can go to my video on the composition notebook. And what I did, you can use the same process. If you made a journal with that video, I punched holes with a hole punch, like right here and right here on that video. You can use that same exact process if you would like. Or what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put my awl through here, and then you'll see what I do. So basically, I need to get a clip to clip my pages so they stay put. And I have another clip here. So you want to make sure everything is lined up how you want it. And just clip it there to kind of hold everything together like that. And then I'm just going to come down a little bit, not too far, maybe about that much. And I'm just going to push my awl through to make a hole through the pages. Okay? And then I'm just eyeballing here. I'm not measuring. So the next thing is I'm going to do the same thing here. Right about here. Just push right through to make the hole through the pages. So now we have 2 holes through our pages. Okay? So then I'm going to take my ribbon, and what I did was I cut the ribbon in half and I tied a little knot here because I liked the idea of there being a little, this little, whatever you want to call that, knot thing there in the middle. So that's what I did. I just took my ribbon, cut it in half, and tied a knot. And then you're going to take one end of your ribbon, and all I do is I just kind of put it on the end of my awl, and you might have to fiddle just a little, and I push it through. Let's start again. Need not as much fabric. And I just push it through that hole, and it's going to come out through here like that. And uh-oh, this is a piece of sari that is already kind of tied. You know what? I'm gonna have to redo that. Okay, bear with me. A little bit of a mistake there. Just gonna cut that off. If you can see, if you've ever bought sari trim, they sew it together. So there was like kind of a good bunch there, and it wasn't really fitting through very nice. So I want to go back and redo that. So you want to use a ribbon that's kind of smooth, is basically, I guess, the best thing that I could say about it. And then just pull your ribbon through just like that. Okay? And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So just get your awl, push your little, push without getting too much fabric. Seems like closer to the end, the better with this process. And then just pull through your page like that. So basically you've just bound your pages together without thread. You're using ribbon instead. And I have been making these, and I haven't had much problem with ripping or anything, but I like my journals a little bit messier. So if you like everything really neat, I would suggest using hole reinforcers, and then you can make sure that everything isn't like kind of ripped or whatever. But I haven't had any problems with tearing of my pages. But the one tip I will say is this outside page, this one, make sure it is a strong piece of paper. Don't put something fragile here, this outside one, and you should be okay. So basically, now that we did that, we're gonna do, that's how I want that, and that's how I want that. So when we come in here, now we can see where our ribbon is, right? So you don't want to add your lace until you've done this part, because you want to make sure that you're putting your lace below that top ribbon and above the bottom ribbon. And then another thing that's really nice about this is it kind of allows you to gauge how puffy your papers are. And you know how when you make a journal, you are always worried about room to grow. You want to make sure you make your journal so that when you're adding to it, it's not becoming like an alligator mouth type journal. You know what I mean? Like, you want it to have a nice spine so that it's allowing for your pages to grow. So because of this, because you're adding the lace like this, it kind of gives you the ability to really give yourself a nice little space on the spine for your pages to grow, if that makes any sense. And just a little tip, because I've already done this. If you're working in your journal and you start growing and you didn't give yourself enough space, you can kind of peel this off and re-glue or reattach new ones, just as an extra little tip. You know, like, your journal isn't ruined if you kind of grow out of it. You can sort of re-add new binding here. Okay, I might be confusing you now, so I'm going to stop talking. All right, so what you are going to need is some Fabri-Tac glue and your lace. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my front first. I'm going to glue on the front cover first where I want it to lay. So we'll do this one first, and I want it to be about right there. Fabri-Tac is a great glue because it's very strong. It adheres to paper and fabric super well. So just put a nice little pad of glue there and make sure that you are below your ribbon, and press down nice and hard to make sure it's going to attach good. And then do the same down here right below your ribbon. So yeah. So just go ahead and make a nice little pad of glue so that it's nice and adhered like that. And like I said, I like my journals a little messy, so I have a lot of rough edges and different things like that. So you know, you can do it however your taste is. So okay, so now we have the front. Fabri-Tac dries really quickly, so just give it a second and then flip it over. Let's go this way. Make sure, now this part is important, to make sure that you have your covers lined up good with your pages. You do not want your pages sticking out like that, okay? You want to make sure that they're kind of even with the sides, or even just tucked in just slightly like that, okay? And then get your ribbons out of the way, line yourself up here, and then if you think this is too long, which I kind of do, I kind of want to come back to here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut these. And again, like no real measuring. I'm just kind of winging it. There. I think that's a little bit better. So, relining myself up. And then this time, I'm going to put some here. And then I'm also going to put a little bit right at the tip, like that. And then just fold it over enough. Don't like push down really hard on this, because you want to allow the spine to have enough room so that it kind of is gonna look like this. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be squared off. That's how you want it to look. You do not want it to be totally flat on the spine. Okay, and then the same thing here. My glue's getting kind of low. Need to make a trip to get some glue. I can't live without this glue. Whenever we were in the, whenever we were first sheltering in place and all the stores were closing, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get out and get my Fabri-Tac glue. So I made a special trip to get 2 bottles of glue so that they would last me. And I'm just now running out of those bottles. So, and see how they're not really even, but that's okay. You know, I like it imperfect. So there we have it. Now you have your, everything's in place and you're ready to tie your ribbons. Doesn't that look so pretty? I just love that so much. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is take your ribbon. Let's check our inside pages. Make sure this is pulled nice and tight, okay? Line yourself up again to where everything is even and it looks like this. Can you see how this is kind of squared off? Well, I'm pushing down, and your insert is not sticking out past your covers, okay? So there we go. And then all you're gonna do is bring your ribbon up and tie a bow. You want to make sure you get it kind of like nice and tight without pulling so hard that you're gonna rip your papers, okay? So just make yourself a little bow like that. There. You can adjust how you like it, like how big you like your bow. I kind of want it to be a little bit smallish. There. And then another tip I have is to, once you are complete and everything's ready and in place, I would go back and add just a tiny dab of glue under there to just make sure that ribbon stays nice and safe. And then I'm just gonna cut how I like it. I don't really want them to stick out too long, but you could make little strings here, and you could put charms or anything you like on your journal. Let's see here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we have our bow, we have our spine, everything's done. Isn't that so cute? So we made our journal, and there is your open spine, and the ribbon kind of gives it a little bit of protection, and your lace, of course, gives it, or fabric or whatever you choose to use, gives it a little protection there. And it's perfect. I think it looks so cute. So now we've just assembled our journal, and then you open it up, and what I love about it is you can kind of see the fabric you know, when you're opening and you're turning your pages, and then at the back, in the middle, you see your ribbon, which I love. And then at the back, you see your fabric here. So there you have it. We made the journal. So if you really like that, I would love to see if you guys make one yourself. And again, if you need some help with just assembling the journal from the beginning, I will link the video of mine that I use a composition notebook to assemble a journal. And also, once again, if you have watched that video and you've made one of those journals and you like the idea of punching your holes instead of pushing all through the pages, you could certainly do that as well. So I hope you loved the video, and I really hope that you guys have fun making these journals, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!